Hello everyone and welcome to Bite-Size Mechanics, where I aim to demonstrate fundamental and creative game mechanics using Unity and C# scripting. Today I'm going to be doing a run through a simple save and load system. And when I mean a save and load system, I mean a system where you're actually able to collect data, so some variables that represent a collectible in your game or something like that, and you're able to store that data so that if you close down your game and open it back up again, your player will be able to access it very easily. So that's what we're going to run through today, so let's jump into Unity. So there's a few things we have to do to just set up our save and load system. So let me show you what I've got here in order to actually demonstrate this system. So I'm gonna press play, and currently I have a bunch of falling cubes that just randomly have a different color, and if I click one of them, you'll see my UI updates for however many cubes that I've clicked. So if I now stop this and then play it again, I'm gonna have 0 cubes again. Now, what if as a player I want to go back to the amount of cubes that I had before so that I'm able to continue from where I left off? And this is very important for your game because it allows you to have a much bigger game, so that if your player can get to a certain point, they can save it, close it down, come back to it the next day, and it really just adds a lot of value for your game. Like, you know, if you've got like a story-driven game, then, you know, save and load systems are kind of essential, really. Okay, so first things first, I think I need to make 2 buttons. One that will, when it's pressed, it will access the save function, and the other, when it's pressed, it will access the load function. So I'm just going to go to my canvas here, and I'm going to create a simple button, and then just duplicate that one more time. I'm going to call this one save, and I'm going to call this one load. Okay, just see that properly. Okay, and then just gonna roughly put that one over here, and then put my save. You know, what's wrong with me today? Okay, so I'm gonna put my save button here, and then I'm just gonna change the text on the button so we can actually see what it is. So I'm going to call this one save, and then go down to the text, load. Okay. So we have our save and load buttons. Now we actually have to add some functionality to it so we can actually do the thing. So for starters, I'm going to have a folder here called, I'm going to rename it. I'm going to rename this folder called data management. Okay, so data management, and inside this folder we need a script first and foremost, and this script is going to be the class that is going to actually contain all our data. So we can call this one player progress, and then second of all we're going to need another script, and this script is going to be what's going to control all the information going to and from gameplay to storage and so on and so forth. So we can call this one game master. I'm not going to call it game manager because Unity already screamed at me for doing that last time. So okay, so we got our 2 scripts. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my player progress script and format it to actually store the data we need. So I'm going to remove the mono behavior, and I'm also going to I'm also going to set this for system.serializable. Okay, then I'm going to remove the start and update method. And right now, all we need is our variable to represent the cubes that have been destroyed. So I'm going to write a public int for cubes destroyed, because when we click them, that's the number we're storing. Okay, so that's done. That's all we need to do. Now I'm gonna go into my game master script. Okay, and this is the script where we're going to actually process the data and store it in our computer. So first things first, we actually have to make a method for saving our player progress. So I'm gonna delete the start and update because we don't need it here either, and I'm gonna create a public void save progress. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do now is I actually need to make a reference to the player progress data script that we made before. So I'm gonna say player progress, I'm gonna call it data equals new player progress. Cool, so we've made a reference to that, and now we actually have to access data dot cubes destroyed, and we have to have that equal to the actual number that holds the amount of cubes that have been destroyed. So to do that, I actually need to access the script that controls the destroying the cubes. As you can see here, I've got the input mouse button down, and then plus to destroy the cubes, and then we have the number. So this is the variable that we need to access right now. So what I'm gonna do is, this is the thing, it might not be the same for your project. Your project might be different, but I'm trying to show you the base, no nonsense way of implementing this kind of technique. So right now I'm just trying to show you the base way it works with one single variable, and then maybe I'll make another video that kind of expands on this implementation and shows you more ways of getting it done. So right now I'm going to use this public int cubes destroyed, and I'm actually going to change it to a public static int, so I don't have to reference it and I can access it from this script here. So now I can actually say click cube, because that's the name of my script right here. So I'm going to say click cube dot cubes destroyed. Okay, and then that will just then set the value for my data cubes destroyed to actually hold the information. Okay, so now that's done, we actually have to save this data to a JSON file, and we do that by creating a string. So we're going to say string JSON string equals JSON utility dot to JSON, and then we plug in our data variable. Okay, so that's done, and then we just create a another string, and this is for the path, and we set that equal to Unity editor, which we actually have to reference the Unity editor, I believe. Okay, so we reference Unity editor dot editor utility, I think it is. Yep, there it is. So editor utility dot save file. So we're going to do save file panel in project. So what this will do is essentially just bring up the file panel of your computer, so you're able to actually save the data that we need onto your computer in a specific folder. So this function is actually asking for a few variables to plug in. So what it wants is the title of your file, the title of the panel, and it needs a default name that it's going to save to, and then the extension, so the dot extension of the file, and then a message to show what to actually to show the user what to actually put in. So we're going to do that now. So one thing, we're going to actually give this file panel a title, so we're just going to call it save progress, or yeah, let's call it save player progress. And then we can call the next argument saved progress as a default name. I can't talk and type at the same time, you know. I should be used to this by now. So we can say saved progress as a default name for the file. The next one is we have to actually give the extension of the file, so that would be JSON, and then we can give the user a message to actually prompt them what to do. So we can say type a suitable name to save your progress. Okay, we can say that. So now it's actually going to ask for the path for where to actually save the file, so the actual directory path in your computer. So first thing we want is assets. Need to make it a string. So first thing we want is assets, because that's where we're saving it in our Unity project. The next thing we want is, I believe we should save it in some kind of data management folder. I believe we have that. So let's say assets, data management, and then let's make a folder inside that called player progress, so we won't forget to do that. Okay, so that should be all we need. Let me just make that a little bit neater so you can actually get seen. There you go. So the next thing we have to do is we have to actually check that none of this variables are empty, so that we don't save an empty file. So we're going to say is null or empty, and then we're referring to the path itself, and then we're going to say system.io.file.write all text. Okay, and then we're going to plug in our path and our JSON string. Okay, and that should be all we need for our save progress. Okay, and this is one of the functions that we're going to plug into our save button. Okay, so now let's create a load function, so we can load this data back up. So we're going to say public void load progress. Okay, now what we need to do for this one's a little bit more simple. So we could say string path, so we're actually going to access the path, equals Unity editor dot editor utility dot open file panel. So we want to go back and see if we can find the file that we saved, and then we're going to say load previously Save progress. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be the title for the file panel. Next we need the directory, so that would be it was what we had up there. So assets, what was it? We can actually just copy and paste this from up here. Okay, we can do that. And then let me just make this a bit nicer for now. Okay, and then last but not least, we need the extension for the file. Okay, so now once again we need to check if the string is empty. Path. Save our JSON string. So we're going to access the content that we saved through this method. What was it? Path. And then once again, we're going to make a reference to our player progress data so we can access the previously saved. Sorry, what did I call it? I called it player progress, didn't I? Yeah, we're going to access the player progress data so we can actually recall what we saved. JSON utility dot from JSON, then we access the player progress, and then we want it to be JSON string. There you go. And then we go the other way, and then we say click cube dot cubes destroyed equals data dot cubes destroyed. So we've gone the other way. So now we want whatever's in our data player progress to be equal to equal whatever cubes destroyed is. So that's how we're going to get our data back. So now all this is done. You can screenshot that, do whatever you want, and we're going to go back into Unity. Make sure to save it once it loads up. Cool. And right now we want these buttons to actually do something, so we have to actually have a physical reference in the world to our game master, and then we want to add our game master script to it, just like that. And then we want to actually go to our buttons and assign the functionality. So our save button, we on click, and then we drag our game master over to it. Okay, so we access the game master script, and we want to save the progress for this button, and then we do the same for our load button. We access the game master, and then we load the progress, just like this. Okay, so now when we press these buttons, they should recall the information that we want. So now that we've assigned functionality to our buttons, we actually have one more step to do, and that is to make sure our path is correct to the string that we did before. So we had it placed in the assets. So as you can see, if I go back to we had it for the assets, we should have a folder called data management and then player progress. So one thing I'm going to do is go back to Unity, and then I'm going to remove the space from in between here because my string didn't have a space. And then these are where my scripts are, and I'm going to make a new folder called player progress. Okay, and I just have to check my player progress folder is exactly the same as my path here. So that looks okay. So now that we've done that, why don't we actually try and test out our functionality? So as you can see, I've got my save and load button there. Cubes destroyed. Excuse me. Let me try and grab a few cubes. Okay, so I've got 7 cubes, and let's save it. So as you can see, you've got the file panel that's shown up here. It's gonna save it in my player progress folder, and it's got my default name along with my title of my panel and the extension for the type of file it is. So I'm gonna save this as Cameron's cubes. Okay, so whatever I want, I'm gonna save that. And now as you can see, I've still got 7 here because I'm still in my current game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and complete some progress and load my previous save back. So let me change the number a bit here just to demonstrate what we're actually recalling. We're recalling the cubes destroyed variable, right? So if you remember, we had 7 before. I've now got 18. So I'm gonna load my previous work back up. I'm gonna load it, and as you can see here, my file is here from when I saved it. So I'm gonna load that back up, and as you can see, we're back to 7. So guys, I hope you're happy with that, and I hope you learned something. This is a very simple implementation, and it should really help you understand what's going on and expand it into your own implementation, into your own game. If you want to see more content like this, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to let you know every time we release a new video. We're going to be doing more creative tutorials and more fundamental tutorials, so if you have any idea of what you think you might want us to talk about, please leave a comment down below and give your own suggestion. Also, I've been thinking about doing a lot of devlogs in the coming future, just on crazy wacky experiments that I'm trying, and not necessarily going to be a tutorial, but I really just want to show you guys what I've been working on and just share my learning experience with you guys, because as much as people watching these videos would want to learn the quick tip and trick here and there, I also learn a lot from doing these videos for you. So it really helps when you guys support my channel, and all the stuff that I make for the devlogs in the future is all going to be going up on itch.io, so you guys will be able to play it. I'm Cameron Mackay, and thank you for watching. See ya.